What is going on, Movie Meals? Look at this merch, baby! Get
Woo!
some of this merch. Teespring.com/store/movie meals. Link in the description below. It is too comfy. I wear it all the time. I wear it all the time now.
Never
All
takes
the
it
time.
off.
I really don't. I sleep in it, bathe in it. We are here for the WandaVision after show. But before we get into that, let's thank our patrons. Steve, Kimberly, way to be giving us money. You guys rock. Top tier patrons. You can go check our Patreon out as well. Patreon.com/movie meals. Link in the description. Also, check out our sports show if you're a fan of sports. We have a sports show called The Get Back Guys, separate YouTube channel. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, as well as my new Star Wars show, because we're ramping it up here in 2021. Another Happy Landing that I do with Tanner, who was on our Mandalorian after show. Kyle out here designing incredible logos for that show. I'm obsessed. Obsessed with it.
Stop it.
But go check that out. Get Back Guys is every Thursday at 11, and then Star Wars every Saturday at 11. And you can find both those on Spotify, Apple Music, Pocket Cast, a lot of great sites, as well as YouTube. So now we're here. WandaVision takes place after the events of everything. It would have been after Black Widow. Definitely after Black Widow. That's prequel. But it is Kevin Feige doing something different with this show, and it's I don't really know. It's going to be all spoilers here because it's an after show, but it's going to talk. I don't even know how to describe this show without going into what I think are spoilers. So it's a show that takes place after the death of Vision. Spoiler: if you haven't watched it, where have you been?
Catch up, guys.
And it is supposed to pay homage and to kind of poke fun at old style television, 50s television shows like Bewitched and I Love Lucy, and then all up through like shows in the 80s and the 90s to then the MCU that we know. And we know it'll also involve Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So why don't we just talk about those first two episodes with my whack synopsis I just gave there? And what were just your initial thoughts watching, Kyle? What did you think of the show? The first two eps, Disney Plus, not a sponsor. Kyle,
have I caught up now?
You were never behind. I was for a second.
I was
Kyle,
absolutely behind.
What do you think of the first two episodes of WandaVision?
So far right now in these first two episodes, it's giving us what we were teased in the trailer, which is to be expected. Like there's nothing that's really throwing us for a loop. What's throwing us for a loop is that it's a really slow burn of a show and that we really don't have too much of a clue. We have our guesses, but otherwise we just don't really have too much of a clue as to what is going on exactly. But that's what I am really appreciating about this so far. I think some people are in the mindset of like, the binging types of shows where you can just go on to the next and the next and know exactly what's about to happen. But I like that this is such a slow burn, and I like that they're going to be releasing 1 or 2 episodes per week. I don't know what it's going to be afterwards.
Probably one for the rest of the time would be my guess.
Probably one. Okay. But that still works for me. Like I like this is a slow burn because it feels different from the Marvel content that we've had before, like even aside from some of the TV shows that we've had before. Like it feels right that it's supposed to be in like the world of the MCU, but at the same time, it feels different. Like it feels like more of a slow burn of a plot. It feels like it's, a show that's able to be lighthearted in the one moment, but then super creepy in the next moment, as we've seen when they're going from poking fun at, the sitcoms of the 50s all the way to, kind of having weird horror elements, like the guy choking in the middle of the dinner scene, or like the beekeeper suddenly appearing out of nowhere. Like it was some creepy stuff that was thrown in there too. So I like that it just feels different right now, and I like that it's a slow burn. Like we have our guesses like in our trailer reactions for this show before, but there still is a lot that we don't know yet, even despite our guesses, and I really appreciate that.
I saw the beekeeper in the end of episode 2, and I was like, no one said Candyman. What's going on here? Kevin Feige is proving over and over why he might go down as the greatest film producer of all time. and a creative story guy, because he's so heavily involved with where he wants the story to go. I loved these first 2 episodes. You hit the nail on the head. We talked about it a lot with Mandalorian. Netflix has given us this format of saying, here is your whole show at once. But what they're really saying is, here is your 10-hour movie. Here's your 10-hour movie right now. Go ahead and watch it. But we've separated it to where we think are good little endings for you to stop. That's what really they've done. Disney, HBO, Amazon have all said, nah, this is a TV show. We might give you a couple episodes to start, but you're going to get 1 episode per week, and we want the buildup. We want the everlasting discussion. We want people to talk about it and people to theorize. And it has started a divide where we talked about it with Mandalorian, where people are like, well, I actually really liked the beginning and I liked the ending, but I just didn't like any of the middle. That's just, there's no this, there's no that. And it's like, well, if you had gotten it all at once, you probably wouldn't be saying that, because the same thing happens in Stranger Things. And you don't hear the complaints because you get through it so quickly that you don't care. And I try to take that into my mindset when I watch these shows and take them for what they are. It's an episode of a show. They are giving me an 8-hour movie, but they're actually giving me the full show, in a show format. And I loved these first 2 episodes. I love that Kevin will go so unique and so different. I thought it was so funny. I thought taking these 2 characters that are really B characters in the MCU, they're not our main loves, are starting to make them some of my main loves, because I was just enjoying so much what was happening. I loved the idea of them in the 50s trying to figure out how to be superheroes without being superheroes, while handling
trying
those
to find how to have a normal life.
Yeah,
in a way.
But dealing with the dumb, sitcom episode plot lines where it's like, oh my God, we have to be the magic act because we have to woo them because the mean girl in the neighborhood won't like me. Like, that is such a 50s sitcom plot line. And
I forgot to cook dinner. Oh no.
Yes. I loved it. And I thought the humor worked. I thought the plays on I Love Lucy, Bewitched were so great. I love the little teases of what is really happening, and I love that they didn't give it to us. I love that Kevin Feige's like, look, I've never spoon-fed you, and I'm not starting now. Here's what you're gonna get. I adored it. I liked that they just threw me right into the sitcom. It was funny. I mean, the moment where they push the beds together and she just makes them one bed, such a Bewitched moment. It was so good. And then to get the teases, so we've theorized the comic line House of M. She creates a world in her head, and that's kind of what everybody is thinking, right? That she has done this. She's created a big world in her head where Vision is alive, and that they have the happy life that they get. And when in the first episode they tease as if somebody has got her like hooked up to a machine and they're watching what she's doing in her mind.
Yeah.
If that's what you felt with that first step. He's back again.
That's that what I got out of it? Yeah.
So then in the second app, they go with, which is weird, but they go with the Schindler's List kind of thing, right? It's the one thing of color in a black and white moment. And obviously at the end, it turns into color because we're going into a different era of television. And then we get the radio and we get like, Wanda, can you hear me? And I don't know if you felt this because they do it twice. The first time with the radio at the kind of party, I thought it was Jeremy Renner's voice. It sounded to me like Hawkeye.
Oh, okay.
Then the second time it sounded less like him to me. I made sure to like really pay attention, and it sounded less like Jeremy Renner to me. And with the helicopter falling, then I started wondering, well, is she hooked up to something? Now I'm thinking, is she creating a war? Like, remember in Annihilation, they had like the big bubble? Remember in that movie?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
I do
thinking like
remember
as
that.
if she has a big, because her power is red ether, and
Yeah, and then it's
I thought maybe she
yeah.
has like a red ether, and that yes, she is hooked up, and people are studying what's happening, but that she is taking over in kind of a big environment, and then the idea would be like a kid near this big bubble that's quarantined off flies a remote control helicopter that gets sucked in and then falls, and she's like literally recreating everything in her mind
Or what
was
if
my
it's
next
a
guess.
or like even just a military helicopter or like a news helicopter that gets caught up and maybe like she
And it
destroyed it
changes,
somehow.
or
Yeah,
like
that's a
her
good
mind changes it into like a
a,
kid's toy.
that land in the bushes. Yeah.
That's an
That
interesting idea.
yeah. But I'm on
You
the
got
same page
ideas.
with you. Like I'm on the same page with you. It could be something like that to where it is kind of like that magic bubble, I guess, expanding, or she's hooked up to something because she nearly did something bad and they're hooking her up with Hawkeye to see if maybe they'll snap her out of it or something. Maybe she's in a trance of some kind.
I've heard too that there's a villain called Nightmare in the MCU that handles
Hmm.
people's dreams, that they are manipulating her right now. Which would be interesting. And I've also heard, and I want your take on both of these, that now Shield has become Sword, and that is the people who in are watching her on the screen. That it is Sword that is dealing with it. And apparently there was a tease that I missed, but I was told there was one of that's because I've been seeing that everywhere. That it is Sword who has taken over everything. So what do you think as the resident comic guy?
Um, I do know. I remember seeing somewhere online that there was like apparently a what was it, episode 2 in its like opening crawl with like the Bewitched references. Like there was like a reference of like Nightmare's helmet that was like in the
Huh.
background somewhere. So I think there might be something to that. I almost wonder if that's Catherine Hahn's character. I'm wondering if they made Catherine Hahn that
Oh,
character.
Kyle, you are an idea man. I
Well,
love
thank
that.
you.
I love that. I would love to see Catherine Hahn be a villain. That is awesome. I
It makes the most sense to me as of right now. With
look at
with
you. Oh
with
my god.
Sword, I do wonder about that because I feel like Sword's gonna come into play for not only like Captain Marvel 2, but also for that Secret Invasion show with Nick Fury. I feel like I had the assumption that Sword was gonna be like all these space adventures with Nick Fury involved somehow, but I'm wondering now that you mentioned it for this show if they're also pretty much the new Shield and they're also like taking control of government stuff on Earth too or something like that. So I'm not too sure about Sword yet, but I guess it's not out of the possibility. Why not? Like we clearly see that anything can happen with these movies and shows and all sorts of references can be thrown out there. So why not this one? So yeah, I could see both of these being very plausible. And I'm starting to like the idea of Catherine Hahn as Nightmare more and more. Like, yeah, it's a character that's white and male, blah, blah, blah. But what the heck? Change up the character. Catherine Hahn could probably do something interesting with it, you know?
I've seen her in dramatic work. She plays Mark Ruffalo's divorced wife
Hmm.
in that show where he played the twins. I know this much to be true, I believe is the title or something like that. And she was excellent. And I know her HBO show is a little bit harder. What was that movie where she played the mom was it with Paul Giamatti and they were trying to have a baby? Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yeah, I
She
do
was
remember that.
excellent in that movie.
That is a good movie. Shoot, I can't remember the name of it now,
I
but
can't either. She is a talent. So people are saying I believe um, that the kind of image at the end with the thing is Sword. There's a picture in the background of what looks like the symbol that they have for Sword.
in which
Um,
scene? I'm sorry.
in the where the like woman or man is typing on the computer, and then there's the little
Oh,
TV.
oh, oh, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Then yeah, I think that's probably Sword then. I think
It's
that's
an
very likely.
oval surrounding a sword. The secret to this symbol isn't too hard to
Mm.
uncover, thanks to both the comics as well as that its connection. They could go with both. I mean, it could be that Nick Fury's back It could be that there is a new division of sword. You know, the big wig government. It'd be cool if they kept in who's the actor that plays the general who has been in and out, who first appeared in Hulk.
Oh, oh God, what is his name now? I know who you're
Anyway,
talking about too.
if he
He was in
started
Civil
a
War recently.
yeah,
Yeah.
if he started and they kept him in and he started a new division with his own guys
Hmm.
of Shield and made the sword, I would be down with that on Earth. You could even do two of them, like even if that, they've got their space adventure show and then there's this one on Earth,
Hmm.
you could do two of them. I love the idea of Catherine Hahn being Nightmare. And that's why she pops in and that's why we never see her husband. I would, because we
Yeah.
haven't seen her husband in 2 episodes. They're at a party. She makes fun of him, and we don't see him. So
Hmm.
I love that idea, and I believe Nightmare is a woman in the comics, correct?
I believe it's a white guy, but
Is
who
it? Because I
cares?
would love that change up. That would be awesome. And it's when I was looking at some stuff while you were talking to get the sword reference. So Nightmare is a Doctor Strange villain, which would
Yes.
make sense why Doctor Strange is then pulling out, showing up in the show and pulling her out of whatever it is. Because I assume, I don't know where you lie, but I assume Doctor Strange is going to be what pulls her out of everything. And what if that was Doctor Strange on the radio, and I just didn't register because he's so good with accents, and maybe I just didn't pick up that might be Benedict, but it could be him on the radio yelling Wanda or whatever, like get out.
Um, I don't know. For some reason, I like the idea of it being Hawkeye over
I do too.
Benedict
I don't
Cumberbatch.
think it is after
Yeah.
the second time, but a Hawkeye would be cool because they have such a connection.
Yeah, that it was established back in Age of Ultron, and it carried throughout most of those other movies. So yeah, I think that's a pretty likely guess. I
I
don't know
was
how. Oh, you go,
Go
you
ahead.
go.
No, 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 no. You go. You go. You go. Mine's gonna
Thank
change
you.
subject. Mine's gonna change
Uh,
subject.
okay, with Benedict coming in, like I'm sure. I don't know when that would be. I guess that would be the final episode, and then after that, it'll be like the end credits being like Doctor Strange and Wanda will appear in this
Yeah,
movie, and that I don't think it's gonna be like a full episode type deal.
it'll either be um like it might be the finale is most likely pulling her out of it, whatever is happening,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then ending. It could even end with the final line can be Doctor Strange going, "You have opened the multiverse." Like you've opened it, you've ripped
Yeah.
open a portal through time and space right now, and now
Hmm.
we assume that's how Deadpool will be brought in because they've announced that there will be Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
We assume that is the big theory of why Chris Evans might be returning in a small role, that he'll be back in a multiverse version. Side tangent on that, I would much more prefer him to be old Cap giving advice to somebody. I think that would be such a powerful scene, and it would be a good range for Evans to do. But anyway, back to WandaVision. Uh, do we think? Um, I've completely lost my question. It's gone.
Okay, well, I'll circle back to wanting to talk about Paul Bettany then, if that's okay, while you try and think of
Yes,
your he
do it.
surprised me in this show. And I don't
He's
mean that and
funny.
saying like, oh, he's actually a good actor, but he's really funny. Like he nails like the essence of those male lead characters of those old 50s shows, like not necessarily in like I guess the 50s voice, but at least he gets like the mannerisms, he gets like what the role of those characters always were in those shows. And I don't know, I had a kick out of him. I thought that he had a great comedic timing, and I just wanted to take a moment to give him some respect because he did a really good job so
Seriously,
far.
he is a great actor, and his story he tells where he get have you know the story I'm talking about? He left a producers meeting, and a big wig producer in Hollywood told him his career was over. He
Oh,
didn't
I
have the
do remember
build, he didn't
that.
have the talent. He
Yeah.
was done as a draw, and he said he was sitting on the curb, and maybe 5 minutes later, just thinking, "Is my career over?" Then Joss Whedon called him and said, "We want you to be Vision in Age of Ultron." And then since obviously he's been in the MCU, and I haven't really seen him in anything else outside of Star Wars, but I'm glad that he has gotten those opportunities because he really is great. They both are. I mean, the three of them really are great in this, and they fit the mold. I really do like the idea of Catherine Hahn being Nightmare. I never even thought of that, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I am so on board because I think she is such a talent.
Then I
So
also want to
for
talk about, can I just
no,
mention it?
yes,
I think I also need to talk about Elizabeth Olsen too, because like kind of like you with Paul Bettany, I don't really see much else of Olsen outside of all the Avengers movies. But I think she's doing a really good job here so far. Like
she's a
Paul
talent.
Bettany, she's nailing it's funny, like she's nailing all those, types of characters that we see in all those sitcoms, but then she's also doing a really good job at reverting back to normal Wanda. And we just see through like only facial expressions, like, there's some weird stuff going on. And it's just some of like the better acting that I've seen of her throughout like these movies. Not that she wasn't good to begin with, but she's
Yeah.
really showing me like a lot more of her range, I guess. And I've just been
Yes.
impressed by it so far.
Which is, I think, another as well for her, but for Kevin. That Kevin is saying, look, they have the ability. We're going to take risks and do different
Hmm.
things. And I
Yeah.
think that is just amazing. And I remembered my question, my first question. So I have two.
Okay.
Do we bring back Quicksilver? Does Aaron Taylor Johnson return as Quicksilver in one of these episodes?
If they kept that as a surprise and then he gets brought in somehow, that would make me really happy. Because like I think he needs more love, and I think he needs to become a part of Wanda's story a bit more than he has been. Like he seems very abandoned, and I think not that it's been unfair for the character or anything, but I think it's been unfair for the character of Wanda. Like I don't want her just to be the love interest of Vision. I'd like to, explore more things about her. So I think bringing back that character and her maybe coming terms with that death, maybe she hasn't gotten over that death yet, and maybe that'll help lead to her coming to terms with Vision's death even. Like I think that'd be a really great surprise and a really great callback to help push that character further. So that I would really love it if that was like a big reveal and no one knew. But
Yeah, I mean, I
I
know
almost
fans are
wonder if probably not.
speculating it and being like, look, I thought I remember once a long time ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, if there was an article where they asked him if he would come back to the MCU and he said no, that I'd done that and I've moved on to other things.
Hmm.
But I could be completely making that up. I don't really remember. Him showing back up would be cool because he got the short end of the stick because of how much people loved the Quicksilver in Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
And it was I remember that being a big deal where it was like, well, I just much more preferred the other one because he was just the Flash on the CW. His thing was just running with a stream behind him where the Fox property took it to another level of slowing down time, which
Yeah.
was cool. And I'm with you. If they brought him back, I think it would be great. Everything you said, I second. Maybe after the pitch of this show, if that article is true, or if I am remembering correctly, maybe he was like, "Look, this is a cool story." And if they bring it, and they could even bring him back via the multiverse if they open it up and it's another Quicksilver. Heck, Evan Peters could come back.
Oh.
If they tend to go with bringing in Fox characters.
Hmm.
But my last question is, so you and I talked about this, that they have a good 7-minute credit sequence.
Oh
Because I
my
remember
God.
seeing the episode being like 37 minutes or something like that, or like 34 or something. And I remember being like, that's Mandalorian. That's a pretty solid ep. And then I remember it was ending and I just moved my mouse and there was still like a good chunk of time. And I was like,
I did that too.
all the credits. So I scrolled through to see like the little window and like see if there
Yeah.
was a credit scene, and there wasn't. And that makes me, so they were movie credits. They did the first kind of fun credit and then they do the full credits. If I was seeing it in the movie theater and this was the movie, I wouldn't care because that's just how they always do it. And I
Yeah,
just
it
sitting
would have
there
been a
wondering if
movie.
there's an,
Yeah.
yeah. And I wonder if they're doing that on purpose because they do view it as a movie, which makes me think we will get an after credit scene after the finale. Do you think we'll get an after credit scene after the finale of the show?
Oh, after the finale, I wouldn't put it past them. I actually think that's a very realistic thing for them to do.
I think
I'm
fans will get
just
mad if they don't because they always do it.
Yeah, outside of what? Endgame didn't have any, so I guess they would still want them, and
Well,
I
Endgame
guess
makes
so.
sense.
I guess so. I think you're right about that, but those 6-minute credits are dumb. It annoys me so much.
Which makes no sense because you have the power to not watch them.
Yeah, but then it was just annoying for me to be like, all right, let's see if there's anything. There's see why it's like 6 minutes of unnecessary. I don't know. It's 6 minutes of filler, and it just annoyed me.
But we
So
all know I'll watch the episodes before you, so just text me if there's something after, and I'll let you know if you can leave credits.
yeah, I don't know. I just was like, you could make these like 4 or 3 minutes. You don't need six, but what I think it was just weird, but whatever. I guess it's not a big deal.
Well, I mean, they cut that time down if they don't do the movie style like fun credits and then the normal credits. If they just make it one normal credit, it would be a lot quicker. But I do think we get an after credit scene. It'd be cool if that was a tease to something big. I wonder if it's a tease to the next show or to Black Widow.
Or Doctor
But
Strange if he comes into
yeah,
play.
I
Could be
think
that
Doctor
too.
Strange, I think teasing something bigger in the MCU would be good just for fans because we haven't had a big Marvel tease in so long. That
True.
teasing, whether it's Quicksilver's return or the multiverse really opening,
Hmm.
um, the reveal of the next. There's rumors that they'll reveal the next big bad with it. That this is going to
Yeah.
reveal who that will be.
Hmm.
Um, uh, Honestly, an Eternals tease would be kind of interesting if the Eternals are like there's been a shift and somebody has opened up the multiverse because they're the type of beings that would understand that stuff, and they've been more quiet on that movie than any of the others, it feels like.
Didn't do anything for Thanos, but opening the multiverse, what are they doing?
Yeah, well, isn't Thanos one of them? Isn't Thanos a Titan technically? Aren't they all
Oh,
Titans?
oh, maybe they are. I don't know. I guess I didn't
I
think
always
about it
thought
that
they
way, but
were.
I don't know.
Because that'd be interesting if like there was a scene where it was like, yeah, that idiot of ours who was the weakest ran
Yeah,
off and tried to take
he's
over
the
the
weakest one.
universe. That'd be
That would be kind of
interesting.
funny. Yeah.
Uh, but whatever they tease, I'm excited. I really like these first two episodes. It makes me excited to see what's going to be next. Um, yeah. Any final thoughts, Kyle?
Uh, yeah, people hanging in there. Like, I think this show is going to be ramping up to, some really interesting stuff. And, I just like that it's not still sticking with the same type of poking fun at one sitcom. It's going to be doing for all of it. I think that it's makes sense for like what these two characters, Vision and Wanda, are kind of going through, or at least what it seems like they're going through. So I like that Marvel is taking like a different approach outside of, like the Marvel shows on cable TV or the Marvel shows on Netflix and even the movies. Like they're doing something really cool here, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, if you're annoyed, I want you to go take a hard look in the mirror at yourself. What are you doing? Like, you're gonna get what you want. Has Kevin disappointed you recently? No. Did he even disappoint you at okay, Iron Man 2 wasn't your favorite. Thor 2 wasn't your favorite. Those were decades ago. Kevin doesn't disappoint. In Kevin we trust. So get over it. I didn't get what I wanted. I wanted a bigger response to the MCU. I wanted Thanos to show up and do different things even though he's dead. I wanted them to really tie into Iron Man because I love Iron Man. Get over it. I'm having fun with my B characters. It's making me like them more. I'm done with you, you nerds. Getting sweaty. I'm having a hot flash.
But like and subscribe, everyone.
Yes, remember to like, subscribe, share. Go check out our Patreon. Get some of that movie meals merch. Maybe that should be a shirt. Go look in the mirror. But
We'll get started on that.
thank you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Go check out all those shows. Everything's gonna be linked in the description. Yep, and as always, thank you for watching, Mom.
See you guys.